Hello and welcome. If you're watching this on YouTube, I am going to be streaming this live to Twitch under the username Willcall. If you're watching this first part on YouTube, we probably haven't finished the run. We'll probably have another stream or two before we finish it. Although, obviously, this is not going to go up, I think, until the day before we stream the next time. We're going to try to record 4 parts today. And we'll try to record 4 parts in the next stream, and we'll see where we are at that point as far as recording the next one. At the moment, I am doing some dog watching, so I'm going to go ahead and put up a picture of the dog. So this is Cindy. I'm currently dog watching Cindy. So this is a picture of her when she's eating, I believe, her dinner. She was actually a little bit not that interested in dinner, so it took a little bit of work to actually get to eat her dinner. But I'm watching the dog at the moment, so the streams may be a little bit inconsistent, let's say. We're also recorded ahead in case they would be, so if it wasn't for the fact that we've just about finished up most of the runs, what I'll do is I'll probably overlap some of the games a bit to account for the fact that I'm recorded ahead. So this will probably be going up while some of the strategic command is still going up as well. This is the game we're going to be replacing with strategic command with. So I'll put the dog away. I'll put it back up at the end of the stream. So if you're watching on YouTube, you can tell when the stream ends because we'll have that picture back up again. So this is going to be the second time we've done Old World. Run 1, we did Egypt. It was basically vanilla Old World at that point. Since then, I've gone and picked up the DLC for this game. So we're going to start a new game. The big difference of the DLC is we now have access to all the available nations. And many of the nations have more than one dynasty we can play as. Most of the dynasties are basically just changing the starting conditions. Like as Sula here, you start with Sula instead of Romulus. A very small minority of them have something that changes for the entire dynasty instead of just the starting position. For example, Scipio, who I think is the one we're going to play today, as Rome. Scipio's entire dynasty, or at least this is what it's implying from the clicking here. Scipio's entire dynasty appears to have access to getting happiness for killing national military units of other nations. So that doesn't count against mercenaries, that doesn't count against any of the tribes. It doesn't count against barbarians, but national military units you get some happiness for. And it sounds like that may be in addition to the ambusher trait here, which is not a Scipio only thing. A lot of the more powerful starting condition modifiers are actually just a trait on the first leader, such as if we go over to Julius Caesar, he has Expansionist, which is a trait unique to him, which means that when he dies, and in this game, if you've watched the previous one, characters eventually die, this goes away and you never have it again. Now, that's going to influence your starting situation. Like, as Caesar, you probably want to be fighting because you're getting lots of training and XP for fighting. But that's eventually going to go away because Caesar's going to go away. I think one of the other ones that's notable was over Ptolemy. I think his dynasty gets that unique building, so the Shrine of Seriphus. Yeah, you can see if we click on the other ones. He's the only Greek that gets that unique one. And so on. A lot of the dynasty bonuses are either just a bonus on the leader, or it's maybe a unique building or something like that. Sort of like, not Sula, Marius. Marius gets enrollment posts that only he can build, but they technically don't go away when he dies, so you get to carry on to that bonus a little bit longer. Although the bonus is a production cost benefit for building warriors. So eventually you obsolete warriors and you wouldn't be building them anymore. But yeah, so I think we're going to play with the one that gets a dynasty bonus that plays for the entire game, which I think is probably useful and important, because if we were reliant on... we're going to try something a bit more militarist this time. A bonus that was for national military units on our first leader, we might literally not fight the other nations for the first leader, and then that'd be a bit of a sad. Caesar's is at least actually a bonus against the tribals. And then, like, legitimacy agriculture event. That might actually be hard to really profit from on a leader, in the case of Augustus. But a lot of these are they're bonuses for the first leader. And a lot of them are only bonuses for the first leader, for example, because the generic leader of the Cid is usually something small, like Romulus here, which is just +2 of one stat, -1 of a different stat, right? So Romulus is pretty boring in comparison to a lot of these other leaders, but the benefit is just associated with the leader, because otherwise you'd have one Rome that is better than the other Romes. And then maybe that's an argument with Scipio versus Romulus here, is that Scipio is, depending on what you're doing, is just going to be better than Romulus in everything. Or his dynasty is going to be better than Romulus in everything, because you can do everything that Romulus does, but you get a training bonus, or a happiness bonus for killing other people, which is hopefully something we can try to take advantage of. So, then comes difficulty. I think last time we were on good, and there's an argument to do that again. Especially if I wanted to win, even going more aggressive, we'd probably be better off doing the good. I think I'm going to take the risk of going for the strong. So we're going to go up 1 difficulty level. So instead of 3 vacant city sites nearby, we're going to have 2. This does mean we're going to have to probably fight for more city sites. The AI, on average, is going to start 2 cities ahead, 2 technologies ahead. That's an average, so with the 3 other nations, one's probably going to have like 3 extra and 3 extra techs up and down. And so there'll probably be one that has like 1 extra, one that has 3 extra, one that has 2. It's an average. It's not a certainty. This also starts with less resources, so our resource situation at the beginning is going to be more constrained. I think if we hit reset, right, so just I think it's the default difficulty. If I remember correctly, I think on the default difficulty, you would like build a wonder turn 1 or so. Whereas up on the on good and strong, we're probably not going to be able to afford to do that right off the beginning. Oh, and also turning up the difficulty at that point is starting to turn down our base income from the cities. So we'll be a little bit more cash strapped as well. Yeah, I think we're going to go up the strong. Basically stay the same sort of map situation, but we're going to try to be a bit more military aggressively. So let's get into the game after 8 minutes of hemming and hawing. And the music, as soon as we load in here, should go away. Because at the beginning of Old World, you haven't invented music yet. The drama has not yet begun. And I should be in stream safe mode for the music, so shouldn't be any copyrights related to that. Scipio in the Old World. Harsh to your foes and generous to your friends, the Senate has called on you to see Rome through this tough time. King Scipio, the founder. You are renowned as the greatest general at Rome's disposal, fighting with cunning and wit not seen before. Although not without detractors, in the Senate it is said that the gods of Rome favor you above all others, and results on the field are unquestionable. With your grandson, Duke Scipio, already shaping up to be a capable leader, go forth and show the world that Rome is a force to be feared. Okay, let's found our city. So looking at our starting one, we've got access to lavender. What do we need for lavender land consolidation? It might be a while before we get that in application. Got some wheat down there. We got some game over there. Stone and some game. Well, that's fur. Okay. That's a fur resource. Beavers. Okay. think that's beavers. Foxes. Okay. So we've got a lot of one luxury, small amount of another, and a couple various resources we might be able to exploit fairly early on here. And we got Prince Cornelius, our son, who's age 22, got some discipline and charisma. And we are Scipio, the founder, who has some wisdom and some discipline. And we have a city site founder. We settle there. That's going to be our existing circle. Okay, so as far as the strategics, or as far as the resources are concerned, special resources are concerned, it's the same everywhere. Question is, don't want access to the sea right away. Not, or access to a little bit more forest. I think we'll go at least set ourselves up on the river, which is there. And as it was the case last time, we've got to pick between which of the founding families we want to found the city. We'll be able to pick 3 of these 4. So Julius is going to give us more orders per city. More civics if the family is happy. Specialists are cheaper to build in goods. In the seat, we'll have decrees immediately unlocked. Get some civics on setting up the city. The Valerius are going to give us civics per city. Each city is going to provide us with a luxury literature resource. The family cities provide 25% culture per precious resource. It's a precious resource. Gems, gold, silver, pearls. Okay, so we don't have any of those. The family seat gets happiness per culture event. The landowners, Claudius family, get extra growth, income from farms. We only have 1 farm here, but we would get some income from the farms. The rural specialists build twice as fast. We can buy tiles with money. Start with 2 extra citizens. And then we have the Fabius family, which is the sort of the military family. I think we're probably going to go Fabius. Orders is tempting. There's not really enough farmer resources or any precious resources yet for choosing between those 2. So let's go Fabius. There we go. That revealed some of the surrounding area. So we see that we have some barbarians. Presumably on, well, maybe not on city sites. We've got a city site to the west, although it looks pretty small. So maybe, well, we're going to have 2 undefended. So we're going to be, those are the 2 we're going to expand to. That's what we know. We've got Numidians to the southeast that are close to pearls. So if we definitely want to fight the Numidians, that's the way to go. Okay. I don't have trapping. And you start with the tech to do farm. Yeah, okay. There's an argument to come down and farm the wheat. Trying to remember what we want to get up to. Well, we want to get up to fighting, obviously. Right now we've got warriors to train and fight with. We could assign a governor here. Which could be the family head, the prince, or... Don't know if that's... I think that's probably the prince's wife. Although I suppose it could be my wife. Be the queen. No. Neither. She second, well, third line, because it's male first. Inheritance, okay. So you have Cornelius, who's the father of Scipio. Although apparently I've adopted... adoptive son. Not sure of me or my son. Offhand. Also, our son is actually sickly. So, there's a chance he's going to die. I'm guessing. Weakness, it's got in brackets 10 years, so he's going to be sickly for either 10 years or he's going to die in 10 years. I'm not sure. Probably don't want to splurge to grab a governor right away, although a little bit of science wouldn't hurt. Worker-wise, what buildings can we get up to? For example, we'd like more orders. Is it the garrisons that provide orders? Yeah. We require a active law. Okay, so we gotta get to a law first. Before we can build on those. Whoops, that's not what I wanted. This game does have an undo, as we got brought up in one of the other recent streams. So we'll make use of that. We got 6 orders, and we got 4 units. So we're going to probably go through orders pretty quickly. We obviously burnt a couple setting the city up. We'll get 10 next turn. There's definitely an argument to grab trapping for the camp over there. It would also give us access to our range unit. Looking at our option of shrines, the divination's being offered. Shrine of Bologna would also be tempting. And then that gives us access to granaries, which is also bonus to farms. Don't necessarily have good farm land in our starting city here. We probably need to clear the Barbarians to get access to some good farmland. Otherwise, we're going to mostly farming along the river. Yeah. So probably don't need administration right away. It's going to be toss-offs between these two. The Shrine of Bologna there, with the XP bonus for infantry, is very tempting. Or we can get ranged units. We're Rome. We'll stick to infantry for a bit. We'll go divination. So construction-wise, the warriors cost food, the warriors cost iron in upkeep. We're currently food positive. No, we're food negative right now. So we need to get some food and we need to get some iron. So let's decide we do want that farm. We're going to go for the specialist farm right away. It'll be 12 food. That's probably one of the better food tiles we got around. That'll cover the food deficit. Rome is started with building a settler. Do I want to finish that settler, or do I want to delay and get more warriors? I think I will let it finish the settler. And then the question here is, do I want to throw in a governor? So it's going to cost me 100 civics. The Duchess here will, just by being in that job, will provide us that amount in 50 turns. So if they live to 70 doing this job, we'll be good. Yep, let's actually go and do that. We got one order left. I think exploring towards the Barbarians with the scout would not be the worst of ideas. That way we can know the terrain around them. That's all the orders, we'll end the turn. Can also harvest some fur, get some culture. We'll hold off on that for a bit. Got a goody hut over here, so let's explore the goody hut. Our troops discovered a towering wall depicting images and carvings belonging to an ancient civilization with an impeccable record of their laws. The journals want to preserve such findings. What do you advise? We can bring it to Rome. We get horticulture, and we become steadfast, which will make us specifically better at fighting tribal units, which early on is probably good. Or we can glad the advisors, or I'm glad I have such wise generals. I highly value their service. Pick up aristocracy, which unlocks the ambassador and a set of laws. I think I'm going to take steadfast here. Tempted to go with aristocracy, but no, we'll go steadfast. Okay, so we got a small coastal town up here. Assume that's a town if we clear out the Barbarians. Barbarians can occupy city sites like other tribes, but they're a permanent state of war with all nations, yeah. But apparently our one family is upset. Let's add a general to this one. Let's actually go ahead and straight up add ourselves. That way that unit will be better at fighting. Got 3 actions left. Maybe an argument I should have moved the unit a bit before we did that, but I think that will be fine. As far as the head of the family... So I am not married. So I could potentially marry them to make them happier. Or get the princess, or the prince or the princess, to marry. Yeah, let's do this. Let's see if that will help make them happier. They'll use this one order. I think it's probably fine this early on to use an order. Good to think auto gets converted to a little bit of money. Now, old enough to be tutored by scholars. After their daughter, what is her answer? So I can take a 3 courage or courage discipline leader. Okay, so the Courage Discipline one wouldn't particularly like us because Commander and Commander tacticians don't like each other. Okay. But I think that's going to be fine, because that's going to be just the wife to the princess, so should be fine. From this can't years without a Fabius leader, missing luxuries from citizens, and oh, Fabius here, the female head here, is a commander, so they don't particularly like our current leader. Commander versus tactician. Okay. So we'll want to do things to fix that in the long run, but in the meantime, we're going to try to do some exploration around here. Go and harvest this fur for some culture in Roma. What to have him studying. So we are a tactician. So we could do philosophy and push him towards being a tactician. Push him into tactics, which would push him towards making like heroes and stuff. Yeah, I think we'll push him into philosophy. Maybe try to get him to be a tactician. We'll probably fail at that, but we can always try. Oop, I just want to listen for the daughter. So I can gain another strength, or I can let them get witty, humble, righteous, or bold. Let's go with this one. Okay, the farm is done. So we've got adequate food. Now that's not going to be the best of mines, but we need some iron. Yeah, it's not going to be the best of mines because you usually want to put them next to each other, I think. Northern Redemption could be there. Plus 10% per adjacent mine. Plus 20% per adjacent Shrine of Soul. Adjacent mill class improvement. Okay. So at the moment this is going to be plus 60% being on the hill. The other ones next to it, if we were to put more around there, would only getting plus 10%. So, as far as places to put it, the best place for a mine in the town is there. Because I think that may be the only hill we have. I think most of this is flat, arid land, besides that one hill. Although, our expand is probably looking to be a better place for a mine. So really, this is just to tide us over until we can get a better location for mines. So let's just put this down anyway, so we've got some iron coming in to pay the upkeep for the infantry. The King's Road. Our expedition comes across comes upon an impressive paved road system leading between wooden structures that have long since rotted away. The engineering required to build such a site was far ahead of its time. What would you have us do? You break down the roads for stone, or study the technology to gain a labor force, which unlocks roads, unlocks a law, choice between slavery and freedom. Okay, so I think I'm leaning towards the law. We don't need the stone badly right now. And while it would give us more money and XP increase on the warrior, because of the discipline gained, I think the tech this early on is more powerful. So we'll take the tech. In theory, we're not really equipped to pay for the law yet. But if we get up to 40, that's one way that we can get a law, which we need for a source for more orders. That's not a bad plan, at least in the short term. Okay, that's our orders for the turn. Because we're only getting 10.5. -1 from the worker working, so we're getting 9 at the moment. Okay, so we're likely gonna get... Am I taking another swing? No. We're likely gonna get stabbed by the skirmisher. Although there won't no more rules on there. Because they just spawned the first wave of barbarians just before we did the attack. Okay, we're gonna give them money for the truce. That's because we're not ready to fight them in any form. And we've contacted the Vandals. Bonus opinion with them, and we get some global science. Or get a citizen, get bold. And we don't have the trait to go with that option. That'd probably be what I'd do if we had the trait. Yeah, we'll go the top one. So we'll lose some money again. We'll get some opinion bonus with them, and we'll get 1 science a turn because of the added wisdom. Harvest the horses from some money, because we're short of money. Settler will be done next turn. Might be a bit greedy just to run it straight down here, but that's probably what we're going to do. Health of our prince, the son, is begun to decline. He is now ill. So we were told he was sickly. So his sickly trait has been replaced with the ill trait. Assume that's ill. Not triple I. Assume it's ill. So he may not be long for the world. So it was a good thing we didn't make him governor, because then we'd be paying to replace the governor already. And it was already kind of implying that our grandson was our heir, so I think it's just going to go... I think he's sort of fated to die, if that makes much sense. Okay, we hit the skirmisher. It looks like it's going to take 2 more turns to get rid of the skirmisher. I think we're going to follow up, instead of with another settler, I think we want a second warrior. Which will be done in 4 years. I'm tempted to come running down for this one. We don't have a good idea what's around it yet, so that would be the risk with going that way. The other open one was this one over here. Well, this is looking a lot like our starting city take 2, which is not really what we want right away. Of course, I could go up to the one we just cleared. That would be an option. If we wanted horses and pearls. That one we can see that's got citrus and hills. Hills would be useful for building the iron we need to maintain our early army here. That's actually marble, not just stone. Okay. Yeah, I'm thinking we're gonna go down there. So we're at least gonna take that move. That didn't really reveal much. We do that one, which isn't particularly great. Could play 10 training to go one more step. Could actually be on the city to finish the city. Would be 2 actions, but we're less. Well, I could be using on the scout, right? Yeah, well, let's force march. Take that extra step. The question here is which of the cities do I take? Bonuses to farms, which we don't necessarily think we're going to have here. Your bonuses to a precious resource, like the pearls. We're going to have pearls up there. If we take out the guys down here, we're going to have pearls down here. So I'm thinking we do want the Valera seat. So the question is, do I want the Julia's seat or the Claudia's seat? And I'm leaning towards the Julia's seat. We're going to have the Julia's seat here. It's going to provide us with more civics. It's going to provide us with an extra order going forward. Yeah. A tall and imperious emissary of King Satakosus enters the court. As she takes in the surroundings, her words are sharp. This is the great Rome we have heard of. I hope you enjoy all your stone playthings, little king. So we could start a fight with Thracians. Because we have discipline, we can pick this neutral option. Or we could fail to construct a retort. Do not mistake humility for weakness, emissary. Yes, let's go that option. Okay, so this area up here is giving us access to olives and citrus when we have land consolidation, as well as a decent source of hills for putting mines on. As well as we know we have an ancient ruin over there to explore, like up there. Have we done the staff for this turn? We have. Okay, so we've got 1 action. Move the scout. We'll have more actions next turn. Because we're now got more legitimacy, and the Pompey are providing us with 1.1 orders. So the city, in this case, we got the family bonus is +1. Each citizen unassigned to a job provides another 0.1. So there's definitely an argument to get lots of growth, even if you're not necessarily a growth-centric family. So I'm thinking probably want a militia to garrison the city followed by a worker to start working it. That's 16 turns out to get all that done, so that's a bit of a long time. But it is what it is. Okay, so we've just met one of the other majors, and we finished divination. Our son is now severely ill, and we've contacted that major hostile nation. Pay tribute, refuse to pay tribute. This isn't immediately putting an S4. They're already upset, which is making them more upset. Yeah, don't necessarily want to pay tribute to these guys. We'll refuse. I think from reading some of the stuff, they won't declare war on us until at least 30 turns in. We're probably going to want to fight them anyway, but we don't want to necessarily fight them early. Administration, husbandry, drama, or aristocracy. We already passed up on aristocracy once, although that was in exchange for a bonus against the tribes. Let's look at the tech tree. So this is sort of a card-based tech tree. You don't have the ability to pick everything up at once in the order that you want. Every time you complete a tech, it'll basically give you a hand of available out of the available techs to pick from. So we have trapping done. We have... Oh no, trapping's in the drop pile. So we did divination, we got stonecutting, ironworking, and polis and labor force. So that means navigation, phalanx, forestry, trapping are in the draw pile and can be pulled. And we just pulled administration, aristocracy, drama, and husbandry. So administration's obviously out of the ones we've pulled is the cheapest at 80. So if we don't really like our choices, we can do administration just to sort of re-roll the hand quickly. If I want to get an early ambassador to try to keep the peace, we probably want to go aristocracy. Drama starts the music. So up until this point, for the past 30 minutes or so, you've been hearing that there's been no music. It's mostly just environmental noises because we don't have drama. If we were looking for culture, this would definitely be the way to go. I think we can probably procrastinate on that. We know where ranchable stuff is. We don't have that city yet, so we're not in a rush for the ranch. Yeah, I think it's aristocracy. I want the ambassador for early, trying to maintain the peace of the majors until we want to fight them. Same thing with the tribes. We probably want to fight one person at a time. Right now we're fighting the barbarians. When we're done with the barbarians, we want to probably pick one tribe to pick on. At least until we know the state of all the majors. We're going to be operating outside of our borders a lot, so we probably want vassalage. Okay. Aristocracy, we've picked. Pompey, militia, 8 years. Warrior in 3. So we can come at ranger. Bonus from fighting from trees. Herbalist. Bonus health on heal. Remember, we're a leader, so we're getting both the general bonus and the leader bonus for this unit. We'll only get the leader bonus for all the other ones. Fierce. Bonus versus infantry or Pathfinder. So I don't think Pathfinder. A lot of the places we're going to be fighting are not necessarily going to be trees. So I think it's a toss-up between the heal and Bonus against infantry. I'm going to go with the heal. Next turn we should win that fight. Our guy also has a stun effect, so every time he takes a swing, the other guy can't fight. We got a Roman education. As valuable tutors are in Roman society, it is ultimately duty of the parents to oversee their children's education. In addition to the basics of business and domestic skills, it's important to teach them moral and civil responsibilities to make a good citizen of Rome. Scipio has quickly mastered everything that you've taught him and asks for more. How will you sate his appetite for learning? Give him access to the historical texts. So this would basically get us an extra half a science a turn at the cost of 90 civics. Encourage him to spend more time training. So this would cost us 120 training at the bonus of giving us 2 a turn. So if he lived 60 turns, this would pay itself back. Our tutors are doing well enough, just give him XP. Which he'll be able to use to level up and pick things randomly himself. Less interested in that. Yeah, we're going to go with this one. Give him some more science. We need more science nationally anyway. Growing rivalry. Rome is closely mirrored by our neighbor Haiti. The proximity of the nation in both position and power has led to a wary tension between the two. Your subjects pass around the rumors of the strained practices of their people, and ministers fret over the threat of war if they are to turn the gaze towards our resources. Advisors suggest taking action to prepare in case of a rise in Hittite power. So this is promoting, or telling us to do our first ambition. 30 science and starts the ambition to discover 6 technologies. 90 training and starts the ambition to control 5 military units. Or I don't see them as a rival. Which would give us XP. I think we want an ambition. One of the ways to win the game is to complete a certain number of ambitions. So the question here is, do I go for the 6 techs or the 5 military units? Notably, well, actually, notably, the militia does count as a military unit for this. So we've got 1 militia, we got 1 military unit. We're working on a 3rd in the capital. Working on a militia in the expanse. We're already looking at 4 or 5. So it's just say get 1 more, is basically what this is saying, other than what we were planning on doing. So that's really easy. In many ways, that might be easier than discovering 6 techs. Although 6 tech, 6 is kind of sort of inevitable. Yeah, I'll do the ambition control 5 units because I think it's going to be easier. And it's basically telling me to do a thing I'm planning on doing already. Oh, and we're actually kind of at the end of the turn. With a lot of... Oh, with the exception of the scout. So I need to decide what I'm doing with the scout. Let's get over there. I'm going to harvest those pigs. Get to some food. Give me a little bit of over down there. Didn't quite work the way I wanted. I really don't want to force march the scout. It just took so many... Because it's Hills Forest over here, it took so many action points to get through. And I've got 5 actions. So the question is, do I force march the scout? Which would literally get us, like, 1 hex. No. What happens to orders when we... Pretty sure it gets converted to money. Orders are sold for money at the end of the turn. Yeah. So we're just going to turn it into money. That's going to be fine. And the severely ill son is dead. We were expecting him to die. And he has now fulfilled our suspicions. Our suspicion. Yeah. Filled our suspicions. Fulfilled the suspicions. So we don't have trapping, so we can't do anything with the camp. I do have road making, so we could start building the road to connect the 2 cities. Although that would cost stone, presumably. Yeah, 20 stone each. So we probably want some stone, which would be best, obviously, in arid land next to volcanoes and mountains. Okay, I see why it's suggesting building it there. It's plus 10. No, plus. No, it's plus 10. Plus 10 per adjacent resource. And we'll have 2 adjacent resources there. We're probably not necessarily going to go to Polytheus this time. Although if we were, we've got a couple other places just about as good in the Peninsula Expanse. That would also expand the city borders. Arguably a little bit too close to where we're going to put a city over there, so maybe don't want to do that. Okay, that's a little expensive, but we'll run over there. We'll get a quarry going. So we're going to get bonuses from both adjacent mountains here. This is why we're getting a 9 here. And then I can start building the road on the way back once we have some stone income to offset the fact that's going to be stone upkeep. Finish off the skirmishers. Move over there, harvest some furs, move there, harvest some furs, and get the culture event. Oh, we might get that next turn, because we only just jumped to developing. Usually get an event when you, oh no, we got an event. Select timber. A small group of naturalists near Rome have been felling trees and carrying the timber into the carving the timber into usable wood for the city. They're requesting an area of forest near the city be allocated for a permanent lumber mill, where trees can be selectively harvested. So I can add a lumber mill. That sounds swell. Let's get a free lumber mill, which we don't actually, and this is an important thing, we don't have the tech to build yet. So that would be a lumber mill that we'd otherwise not have. Oops. Can I put the here away? There we go. Get 30 science, or gain a worker. Honestly, because I don't got a lumber mill, and can't get a lumber mill, I'll take the lumber mill. And I gotta pick a forest. We're gonna go with that forest. Okay. It's not a bad turn. And that actually keeps us score parity with Haiti. Okay, we've discovered Egypt. We shall wait and plan, which gives us the ambitious control 5 range units, or immediately declare war. We shall wait and plan. Not necessarily liking that we're going to have to recruit 5 range units so early, but that's not too bad. So you are marauders. So I think the skirmishers may have a ranged attack. May have a ranged attack. Marauders is definitely melee. Melee counterattack. Okay. Comparison to you. You are ranged. You take a malice of into trees. Okay. Let's get rid of the melee one first. While sitting in the forest, so we take less damage from the range guy if the range guy can shoot us. Got an event. A marriage offer. Delegation has arrived from the Thracians, offering the hand of Amon the Thracian to strengthen the bonds between our people. However, upon hearing the offer, the Julii exclaimed that it would be a disgrace for a leader of Rome to marry the Thracians over one of their own. They offer the Agrippiania, the commander, is an alternative suitor, and ask that you marry into their family instead. So I can marry into the tribe, and we'll lose one legitimacy for that, which isn't too bad, although that wouldn't echo down the years if we picked up too many negatives like that. That'll obviously make the Thracians like us and make the Julians not. I can take the Thracian wife, which would make the Thracians not like us, but make the Julians do. And to be fair, the Julians already don't really like us. And the Thracians are pretty neutral. Like the nations, the Thracians kind of like us. So that's probably not the option we want. The question is, do we want to cash in the Thracian like to get some like with the Julians? Or do I piss off the Julians more? Notably, I think that will be a break point with the Julians. Okay, the Fabian leader is at minus... Oh, and I'd be marrying a person who doesn't really like me. Fun. Okay, so that'd be the person we'd be marrying. The Julians actually are pretty calm. We'd be sending them below 0, so we'd be getting some malices. Oh, and they don't like that we're unmarried. So this is a weird situation where telling them no but marrying the other person would be minus 40 but plus 20 because we'd be married. I think that's how that works out there. Because I don't think we get a bonus for being married. I think we're getting a malice for being unmarried. Yeah, I think we're going to take this queen. Take the foreigner. Yeah, so, as expected, we lost 40 because we refused the marriage offer, which will go away in 20 turns. But we lost the minus 20 of just being unmarried. And then what we got left is the scout here. Offer some salt. Okay, so there's the Danes' city. It looks like it's going to have some crabs. We're reasonably peaceful to the Danes, so I'm not worried about them stabbing. Well, actually, no. But I'm not worried about them stabbing the scout too much, but I'm like, maybe not. They might be a bit stabby. Okay, so this looks like this might be a dead end due to the coast. Okay, before I continue, I think this is a good place to put a part break in. If you're watching on YouTube, there will be another part up tomorrow. I think I'm going to be putting this live on YouTube 3 days after I record it, instead of the usual 2. And then that will leave us such that we'll have 7 days before the end of the stream here, instead of the usual 6. Just in case I have to not stream a day due to the process of moving the setup back up to the old location when I stop dog sitting. So I think with that, there should still be two parts of strategic command going up. So this should go up with strategic command. Spoilers, I think the third to last part. There'll be a part up tomorrow, which will go up with the second one, second to last. A part up the day after that, which will go up with the last one. And then this one will probably take over its spot with the fourth part. So yeah, if you're watching this on YouTube, there should be a part up tomorrow. If you're watching on Twitch, feel free to hang around. We're going to take a short break. So I've got some time to actually sip some fluid here to keep the throat working. See if the dog wants to go outside, and then we'll be back to recording the next one. So until the next part, wish you all the best of luck and a good time. Catch you all in the next part, and bye for now.